Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.
Hello and thanks for staying with us on Asset Television. Welcome to the news. I am Eugenia Solomon. First, the headlines. President Tinubu says economy is on track as statistics shows 3.46% growth. Nigerians women kick against gender violence, call for urgent action. United States President-elect Donald Trump promises to hit China and Canada with more taxes. In other news, in detail. President Bola Tinubu has said Nigeria is on track to becoming a $1 trillion economy by 2030. Tinubu promised this assertion on the recent statistics that showed a 3.46% GDP growth for the third quarter of 2024. The third quarter report by the National Bureau of Statistics showed that Nigeria's gross domestic product grew by 3.46% compared to the 3.19% growth recorded in the second quarter. The top contributing sectors to GDP in the third quarter of 2024 are agriculture, 28.65%, ICT, 16.35%, trade, 14.78%, manufacturing, 8.21%, crude oil, 5.57%, finance and insurance, 5.51%, and real estate, 5.43%. While assuring Nigerians of better economic output, Tinubu said the 3.46% growth indicates Nigeria is recovering from the reforms' unintended effects. While the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, said the Nigerian government needs more borrowings to fund its budget, even though some ministries, departments and agencies have surpassed their revenue target. Edun said this during an interactive session of the Senate Joint Committees on Finance and National Planning and Economic Affairs on the 2025 to 2027 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework/Fiscal Strategy paper. According to him, the borrowing needs to be done productively and efficiently based on the Senate's approval for proper funding of the budget. Similarly, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, reminded the lawmakers that the borrowing plans contained in the 35.5 trillion naira 2024 budget were primarily meant to fund the 9.7 trillion naira deficit. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, who told the committee that it has recovered over 197 billion naira since January 2024, noted that if the government works hard and drives the requisite collection from the IOCs, the country would have enough to fund the budget. While the Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, has disclosed that the ministry will send a memo to the President Bola Tinubu mandating all government agencies and parastatals not to reject corps members assigned to them for their mandatory one-year service. The minister stated this at a press conference in Abuja when he was asked about the possibility that prospective corps members may be rejected despite the federal government's directive revoking the ban on corps members being posted to the private sector. Recall that the federal government on November 19, 2024 lifted the ban restricting the posting of corps members to the public sector, allowing the 4 corps members to be posted to private sector organizations, including banks and oil and gas companies. Olawande said in a memo sent to the NYSC, the ministry had directed that there should be no barriers to the posting of the corps members adding that the ministry was aware of the rejection of corps members from some agencies and parastatals. Addressing the delay in the payment of the 77,000 naira increased allowance to serving corps members, the minister said the implementation was in process and that the corps members would begin to receive the allowances very soon. The National Assembly has questioned President Bola Tinubu's request for loan as some revenue-generating agencies of the federal government disclosed that they had already surpassed their budgetary revenue target for 2024. The chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, said the federal government generated 1.5 trillion naira in education tax, a substantial amount above its 70 billion target. Adedeji made this known during an interactive session with the National Assembly's Joint Committees on Finance, Budget and National Planning on the 2025 to 2027 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper. The revenue-generating agencies, in their separate presentations before the Joint Committees on 2024 Budget, Performance and Revenue Projections for 49.7 trillion naira 2025 budget, made excess revenue target submissions in the 2024 fiscal year. This revelation of education tax profits came to the fore amidst lamentations on a recent school fees hike across the board. On company income tax, Adedeji said 4.4 trillion naira was targeted, but 5.7 trillion naira has been realized. The Group Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, in his own presentation said the company exceeded the 12.3 trillion naira revenue projected for 2024 by already ranking in 13.1 trillion naira. Now, the Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, has revealed that 30% of Nigerian women and girls aged between 15 and 49 have experienced physical or sexual violence at some point in their lives. This and other issues were the focus of engagement at an event to seek affirmative action on violence against women in Nigeria.
The Minister for Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, made the statement on Monday in Abuja during a press briefing and flag-off ceremony marking the commencement of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence held at the ministry's headquarters. The event's theme was Towards Beijing Plus 30, Unite to End Violence Against Women and Girls.
Over the next 16 days at the national and state level, the ministry, in collaboration with its partners, stakeholders, would organize a series of events, seminars, sensitization and awareness work to the National Assembly, school visits to selected rural communities in FCT, Nasarawa and Niger State, media engagement, capacity building and empowerment of young girls in rural communities on period poverty, workshops to engage the public, civil society and key stakeholders, as well as showcase investments in preventing gender-based violence in Nigeria. As we observe the 2024 Unite campaign in Nigeria, we must collectively adopt a multi-sectorial and multi-stakeholder approach to address this pervasive issue. Our campaign will focus on key activities which includes community mobilization and education. This will enable us to intensify awareness campaigns to challenge harmful cultural norms, stereotypes, and practice that perpetuate violence. No doubt, prevention begins with education. We will continuously engage traditional rule and religious leaders as community.
Highlighting the critical role of media partnership in combating gender-based violence, Suleiman Ibrahim described the rising trend of GBV as a gross violation of human rights that undermines societal values and progress. She called for a collaborative, multi-sectoral approach to address the widespread issue, noting that all 36 states in Nigeria had domesticated the Child Rights Act 2003, while 35 had adopted the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. The campaign will focus on community mobilization, education and raising awareness to challenge harmful cultural norms, stereotypes, and practices that perpetuate violence. Suleiman Ibrahim stressed that prevention starts with education and reiterated the importance of engaging traditional and religious leaders as gatekeepers in communities. The minister also disclosed that there were 47 sexual assault referral centers across 22 states to provide medical care, psychosocial support, and empowerment opportunities for GBV survivors. The UN Women Country representative, Beatrice Eyong, also mentioned that 1 in 3 Nigerian women has experienced physical, sexual, and violence in her lifetime. She also mentioned that cyberbullying should be tackled with.
1 in 3 Nigerian women has experienced physical or sexual violence in her lifetime. During the COVID pandemic, reported GBV cases surged up to more than 100% in key states. 43% of girls are married off before the age 18 despite legal prohibitions. 20% of Nigerian women aged 15 to 49 have undergone female genital mutilation, which with prevalence as high as 62% in some states. 42.7% of women are financially excluded, compared to 35.8% of men, while women hold less than 5% of elected positions. GBV also imposes significant economic loss, estimated at 1.5% of Nigeria's GDP annually, hindering development and progress.
The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Women Affairs, Gabriel Adudo, urged stakeholders to move beyond rhetoric and deepen efforts to address the root causes of GBV.
The importance of why we are gathered here today is so that we can say no to actions like that. It's so that we can say no, human beings should not be allowed to just do this sort of things and get away with it. This annual global campaign remains a powerful rallying cry against the entrenched injustices that is faced by women and girls, organized under the theme Towards Beijing Plus 30, Unite to End Violence Against Women and Girls. This year's activities call on all of us to recommit to the goals set nearly 30 years ago.
Also, the World Bank representative Abdul Mwenge reaffirmed the organization's unwavering support for the ministry's effort to combat gender-based violence. From the Ministry of Women Affairs, Abuja, I am Turai Machu, reporting for Asset Television.
Well, more stories will come your way shortly after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.
Thank you for being there. If you're just joining us, you are watching the news on Asset Television. Now, many people were reportedly killed in separate attacks on the Azege settlement and other communities in Tombo Council Ward, Adabo and Segwebe in Logo and Katsina Ala local government areas of Benue State by suspected bandits. The incidents, according to residents of the affected communities, occurred between Sunday morning and the early hours of Monday. A community leader in Logo local government area, Joseph Anawa, said a large number of bandits entered from Nasarawa State and launched an attack on Azege village and its surroundings on Sunday morning. The chairman of Logo local government area, Clement Cave, who confirmed the incident, said 17 bodies had been recovered and 37 others seriously injured. The second attack, reportedly carried out by armed marauders, occurred in the early hours of Monday and claimed 10 lives. The chairman of the Katsina Ala local government area, Justin Shaku, said the attackers destroyed valuable properties and looted household items during the raid. Anawa, who previously served as the media aide to former Governor Senator Gabriel Suswam, said it took the intervention of a military jet before the attackers retreated. Now, the Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo has hailed the efforts of the Nigerian military for restoring peace to communities ravaged by a crisis in Omala local government area of the state. Ododo gave the commendation while on a security tour to the military forward operating base at Bagana community in Omala on Monday. The community had been embroiled in several clashes over the years, the latest being on April 4th when 23 people were killed during herders-farmers clashes in Bagana, Odu and Obe Jukolu communities over farmland dispute, while property and several houses worth millions of naira were razed. The governor, while addressing the officers and men, expressed his happiness over the military's efforts in bringing lasting peace to the area. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Police Command has announced the arrest of no fewer than 523 suspects for various criminal offenses across the state between October and November 2024. The Commissioner of Police, Ibrahim Abdullahi, disclosed this during a press briefing at the command's headquarters in the state capital on Monday. According to Abdullahi, the arrests were made for crimes including kidnapping, cattle rustling, phone snatching, and rape. He also revealed that several arms and ammunition were recovered, including 5 AK-47 rifles, 2 pistols, and 1 submachine gun. Highlighting the command's achievements, he stated that the command also recovered 5 AK-47 rifles, 2 pistols and submachines gun, 283 rustled cows, 20 sheep, 105 rounds of live ammunition, and rescued 102 kidnapped victims. According to him, operatives foiled a kidnapping attempt, successfully rescued 89 victims, and recovered a fabricated AK-47 rifle along with 5 rounds of live ammunition on November 24, 2024. The Lagos State House of Assembly on Monday debated the 2025 appropriation bill of 3.005 trillion naira, which Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu presented to the lawmakers last Thursday. The Speaker, Modeshiru Obasa, who presided over the plenary, committed the bill to a joint committee on appropriation and finance for review with a mandate to report back in the month. Earlier, the Chairman, House Committee on Budget and Economic Planning, Saad Ulomo, provided an overview of the proposed spending with a breakdown of items in the estimate. He commended the estate government for its intentions as stipulated in the budget estimate. Deputy Majority Leader Adedamola Kasimu called for a careful budget analysis and feasibility. Another lawmaker, Bolahan Yishawu, representing Etiosa constituency 2, noted the absence of allocations for electricity, infrastructure, and climate change initiatives, while suggesting a 5-year retrospective analysis of deficit funding. On the foreign scene now, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump says he will hit China, Mexico, and Canada with new tariffs on day one of his presidency in an effort to force them to crack down on illegal immigration and drug smuggling into the U.S. The president-elect said that immediately after his inauguration on 20th January, he will sign an executive order imposing a 25% tariff on all goods coming from Mexico and Canada. He also said an additional 10% tariff will be levied on China until the government there blocks smuggling of the synthetic opioid fentanyl from the country. If Trump follows through with the threats, it will mark a major escalation in tensions with America's three biggest trade partners. The measures have the potential to cause disruptions to the global supply chain. Well, with that, we end the news. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms for more updates and programs. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Eugenia Solomon. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.